welcome to the Rime Buddhist Center's Dharma Talk podcast, Achieving Peace Through Compassion. This podcast is a recording of the Dharma Talks given during our Sunday service.
Well, I mentioned a moment ago that since the beginning of this year, we have been immersed in the study and discussion of this Bodhisattva challenge. And our text throughout these last 3 months, a little over 3 months now, has been The Power of Mind by Kintro Lodrotaye. We have been journeying together, slogan by slogan, through what is traditionally known as the 7-point mind training. And we have finally arrived at the summit, the 7th point. This section, this point, the 7th point, isn't really about new theories or about complex visualizations. It is more, in fact, it's titled simply Advice for Mind Training. And it covers the final 21 slogans in this 59 slogan set. You can think of this last section almost as a user manual for how to make sure that these practices don't just stay in a book, but that they actually live in your nervous system, that they are a part of your in-breath and your out-breath as you move through every day. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about this section today, but before we dive into this advice, I'm going to clear up a few things, or maybe just one thing. We use this Tibetan word lojong, right? If you were paying attention, you noticed we have a Lojong lineage prayer. This word Lojong. Lojong. It sounds so cool. I am a practitioner of Lojong. Be amazed. It sounds ancient, perhaps a bit esoteric. But it's just Tibetan for mind training. Okay, that's all it means. Lo means mind, and zhong means training or cleansing or refining. So, Lojong is mind training, and that's it. There's nothing supernatural about this. There are no magic spells, no secret bells and smells. There's no tap on the shoulder in the middle of a dark, stormy night. And there's certainly no spirits coming to save us. This is the epitome of practical application. Lojong itself originated in the 11th century with Master Atisha. That name should sound familiar. We recited it just a moment ago in our lineage prayer. And Atisha brought these teachings to Tibet some 1,000 years ago. Atisha's students were known for being incredibly down to earth. They didn't care about looking or sounding like holy people. They cared about whether their minds were actually becoming more kind and less reactive. Today, masters across all Tibetan lineages continue this practice because it works. Because it works. And you don't even have to be a Buddhist to benefit from it. These 59 slogans, these are pithy slogans, they're short. Sometimes they sound a little bit mysterious. But there are 59 pithy slogans that are simply psychological tools to dismantle the ego and to help us develop a heart of compassion. That is the point. We often say and hear that practice makes perfect, right? You've heard this. But in the world of Dharma, as in the world of neurology, we know that that's not quite true. If anything, practice might make permanent, but perfect, certainly not. Science is finally catching up to what the contemplatives like Atisha discovered 1,000 years ago. As a neuroscientist might tell you, the mind and the brain are different, but inseparable. You can think of the brain as the physical hardware, the organ in your skull. And you can think of the mind as the energy or the stream of thinking, feeling, and choosing that courses through it. In other words, the mind works through the brain. And I think this is the miracle. The mind changes the brain. The mind changes the brain. When you choose to think a certain way or react with compassion instead of anger, you are generating energy that stimulates neuroplasticity. You are literally building physical structures in your brain made of proteins. And when we repeat a thought, it's like we are wiring and rewiring a circuit. So, of course, if we spend our days doom scrolling or mired in anxiety and FOMO and judgment, we are physically wiring our brains to be experts at anxiety. But if we use these slogans, these methods to redirect our attention, we are wiring the brain for peace, for compassion, for loving kindness. You are in the driver's seat. You get to choose what you build into your biology. But, we have to be very honest. At least as far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's ever been harder to train the mind than it is right now in the big 2-6. Our attention is no longer our own. It is a commodity being bought and sold and fought over. A couple of weeks ago, I read a book titled Your Stone Age Brain in the Screen Age. And it's written by a neurologist whose name is Richard Sidewick. And he explains how our brains evolved in a prehistoric world for prehistoric conditions. We are wired to notice sudden movements and new information because in the wild, that could mean a predator or a food source. But today, as he argues, Silicon Valley uses that prehistoric wiring against us. Every notification, every like, every infinite scroll is designed by people using the same strategies as slot machine designers. It's the same stuff. They are hijacking our dopamine system. If you're using a digital platform for free, you have to understand you are the product, not the consumer. It is your attention that's being sold. And it sounds a little preachy and it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. This digital junk food is frying our retinas, it's scrambling our attention spans, it's messing with our sleep, and ironically, it's making us lonelier than ever. That which was supposed to make us more connected. We are in the midst of a loneliness epidemic. I've felt it myself, this addiction, this compulsion, and I'm going to confess. This is confessional time. A couple of weeks ago, 2 Sundays ago, during our Sunday service, I was sitting upstairs in the overflow shrine, and I found my hand reaching for the phone in my fanny pack during meditation. It was an unconscious addictive reflex, like a needle to an addict. And I accidentally triggered an ad that started blaring. I was pooping my pants. I couldn't turn it off. It was horrible. I was mortified and I couldn't shut it off fast enough. Thankfully, it was only my friends Daniel and Gabi up there with me in the attic shrine, and I think they've forgiven me. But here's what I was reminded of in that moment. How can I practice compassion? How can I cultivate loving kindness if I can't even control my own thumb? So I've started leaving my phone in the car. My wife, Emily, always says, if you don't want to eat candy, stop walking by the candy bowl. If you want, you can try it too. I know you probably don't have the same problem I have, but you can give up this digital ghost and interact with physical media, like real books, real pets, real humans, real life. If you're at the theater, leave your phone in the car. If you're having coffee with a friend, turn your phone off and leave it in your bag. This neurologist that wrote the book I was just telling you about, he explains that just having a phone on the table, even if it's facing down or if it's on silence, it significantly impairs our attention because it acts as a constant, subtle drain on cognitive resources, constantly thinking about it, whether you know it or not. In fact, he goes so far as to describe smartphones as secondhand smoke for the brain. That's kind of strong language, but think about it. That's why I didn't bring my secondhand smoke for the brain in to bother you all today. But he says, this secondhand smoke for the brain requires an active effort to ignore. Just like when you used to go to a restaurant and there was a smoking section, you really had to actively look for a table across the room to not be, bothered by that. Ooh, just put that thing away. Your brain needs the rest. But I digress. That's my soapbox. In the Dharma, we talk about the three gates: body, speech, and mind. These are the three ways that we put energy into the world or develop our future character. The mind is the source, the speech is the messenger, and the body is the actor. Now, you've probably come across this old maxim. It's been attributed to everyone from the Buddha to Lao Tzu to Yoda. I don't think anybody knows who actually said it, but here's how it goes. Watch your thoughts. They may become your words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character. It becomes your destiny. This is exactly what Lojong is doing, right? By training the mind gate, we ensure that the speech gate is kind and necessary, and the body gate is helpful and non-harming. Thoughts become our words, become our actions, become our habits, become our character. Okay, we're going to get very practical now, because that's what I believe in. I believe in things working and making sense. So I'm going to need a little help here from somebody. If you can pass these around. Everybody take 2 cards and a pen. Thank you very much. Yeah, very simple. It's not hard. You just have 2 3x5 cards. Just make sure you grab 2 cards and then a pen. And if you already brought a pen with you, then let somebody else take a pen, because I don't know if I have enough. For our friends online, if you're watching and you don't have 3x5 cards, just 2 Post-it notes or 2 pieces of paper will work. I don't know where I left my pen. Here we go. Okay, and I don't know how many folks we have upstairs, but here are a few more cards. Thank you so much. You didn't know I was going to put you to work today. Okay. Does everybody have a couple of cards and a pen? Yes. All right. We're about to start your mind training kit. So this is fun. So take your first card, and on the front, in your loveliest handwriting, write the number 1, and then write first train in the preliminaries. First train in the preliminaries. Okay, first train in the preliminaries. There we go. Then, when you're ready, turn it over, and on the other side, we're going to write 4 very short statements. This is our commentary or explanation on what that means. The first one is, human life is precious and rare. Human life is precious and rare. The second one is, life ends. Death comes for everyone. Am I going too fast, everybody? Following? Okay, great. The third one is, everything has a result. And the fourth is, suffering is inevitable. What does this mean? Okay, you look at the front and you say, first train in the preliminaries. And then you turn it over and you say, human life is precious and rare. That means you are here. You're here. You are conscious. You have human life. Don't waste it. The second one is, life ends. Death comes for everyone. Our time here is limited. Use it well. Everything has a result. Cause and effect. Your actions matter. That's just science. Suffering is inevitable. If we only chase what we want and avoid what we don't, suffering is inevitable. The 8 worldly concerns, those are gain and loss, pleasure and pain, praise, blame, fame and shame. They will never make you happy. Now take your second card, and on the front, write the number 59. 59. And then this one is going to say, don't seek acknowledgement. When you're ready, turn it over and write the following. Don't expect applause. Don't count on receiving credit for your good deeds. Doesn't matter. Make it your own. Yeah. This is on the back, right? Don't expect applause. Don't count on receiving credit for your good deeds. That's it. Just do it anyway, right? There are no bonus points. Okay, now you can hold card 1 and card 59 when you're ready. And you now have the bookends of the 59 slogans, right? So my invitation to you, inspired by Lama Matt on Wednesday, is you can go through the rest of this year. You can take a pack of 3x5 cards, and every week take one new slogan, right? And make it into a card. You write the slogan on the front, and then on the back, you write an explanation or a commentary of it. If you need to find one, they're all in this book. All 59 are in the book. And also there are dozens of amazing commentaries on the Lojong practices. Pema Children has a couple that are, in fact, let me show you something. If you don't feel like writing these yourself, you can, now they make these really nice sets. You can actually buy it like a little oracle deck. And you have this is the one Pema Children wrote. It's the same slogans and the commentary. But I think it's better if you make your own. And some of you are very creative and artistic, and I'm sure we'll make beautiful. Maybe we'll make Lojong trading cards. Who knows? But that's the invitation, right? Every week we make a new slogan. You put it in your pocket. You tape it to your bathroom mirror, and you let that slogan, that pithy instruction, steep in your mind like fragrant tea leaves in clean hot water. And then when you feel the urge to check your phone or whatever, you reach for the card instead. Read it, breathe it, be it, do it, and watch how it slowly softens your heart. That's the practice. Doesn't get any simpler than that, right? You don't need any initiation or special artifacts or oils or anything. Just do this. I want to highlight, just in closing, a few specific instructions from the final section in the book. We're not going to go through all 21 of the slogans, but I want to kind of give us a taste for what these are about as the last point in the 7-point mind training. Slogan 39 says this. It says, make all yogas one. Now, this doesn't mean like warrior pose or shavasana, of course. This is not that kind of yoga. Yoga, the word means yoke, right? So all this means is yoke your activities to one intention. Hitch all your activities to one intention, right? Whether you are at your computer, at work, or driving in traffic, or walking the dog, your underlying motivation is this. May this action benefit all beings. When your motivation is unified, life becomes simple. That's it. Make yoga one. Hitch all of your wagons to this intention that all your actions will benefit all beings. Slogan 41 says, in the beginning and in the end, there are two things to do. This is one of those that sounds a little cryptic, right? Like a puzzle, but it's simple. What this is saying is, this is about bookending your day. In the morning, before you reach for your phone, before you have your first sip of coffee, you sit on the edge of your bed and you aspire to keep an open heart. You set an intention to keep an open heart. At night, before you go to sleep, you look back at the day. And if you were kind, you rejoice. And if you were a bit of a jerk, you just acknowledge it without shooting all over yourself, right? You just acknowledge it and you just resolve to try again tomorrow. That's slogan 41. Slogan 42 says, whichever of the two occurs, be patient. Life is full of these dualities, right? Success and failure, praise and blame, health and sickness, and so on. And what this slogan is telling us is this: don't be like a leaf in the wind. When things go well, don't get arrogant. Don't get full of yourself, right? And when things go poorly, don't collapse. Stay steady. Be equanimous. Slogan 48 says, train impartially toward all objects. Now, this one is hard. This one is pretty hard. Everything means everything, and everyone means everyone. We have to practice compassion for the people whose politics we hate. We have to practice compassion for the neighbor who is obnoxious and for the person who hurt us. They aren't enemies. They are the objects that help us grow and develop our patience and our compassion. So that's what that means. Train impartially, not impatiently, train impartially toward all objects. And remember, everything means everything and everyone means everyone. Slogan 49 says, always train in the most difficult points. What is your difficult point? Perhaps it's resentment or jealousy. This slogan tells us to go toward that fire. If you feel resentment, don't suppress it. Use it as a reminder to breathe, to practice Tonglen like we've been doing this morning, the sending and receiving. Start with small resentments, of course, like maybe a slow driver. And that way, when you are ready for the big ones, you'll be ready for the big ones when they come. In closing, I want to remind you of something I think is very important. Be kind to yourself, or if you prefer, be kind to your non-self, whatever. But be kind to yourself. This practice is not penitence. This is not a punishment, right? You don't have to do this because you are bad and you need to be good. That's not what this is about. You're not broken. You're doing this because you have a precious human life. And it would be a shame to spend it chained to a silicon chip or to a reactive ego. You don't have to practice. You get to practice. It's an important shift to make in our attitude, right? I don't have to practice. I get to practice. You get to be free. Remember, in our Lojong lineage prayer, it says one reason for this: liberation. You get to be free, and you get to free yourself. So, if you're looking for a miracle, look no further than the fact that you are the perceiver perceiving. Think about that later when you're driving home. You can actually observe your thoughts, and you can change them. You can liberate yourself from dissatisfaction. And so, in the words of the Greek goddess of victory, just do it. Not for the applause, not for bonus points, but for the sheer contentment of being a sane, compassionate human being in a world that is desperately in need of them. Thank you, and may all beings benefit.
Thank you for listening to the Rime Buddhist Center's Dharma Talk podcast. Music was provided by Barefoot Bran Music. Please consider supporting the Rime Buddhist Center by making a donation at our website at www.rimecenter.org/donate.